once you reach a certain age, you will be required to withdraw a certain percentage of those assets every single year until you either die or the money runs out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Retirement Fundamentals. I am your host Kylie Malott, joined by your co-host Ryan Anderson. Today we have a very special guest. Jonathan Carroll is joining us. Jonathan works in a couple different areas when it comes to retirement, but he is definitely an asset protector, so we're going to get into some advice that he has for you going into retirement and things that you can do to better help yourself. So thank you so much, Jonathan, for joining us. We're excited to have you.
My pleasure. Glad to be with you guys.
Now, Jonathan and I have known each other for years. He and I, we've worked together for about 10 years. He was actually my initial trainer when I got into the insurance world about 10 years ago. And one of the great things about this particular podcast is that we get questions on the regular from listeners just like you. And we have folks that are out there is like, okay, how does Medicare Part A work? And what does Medicare Part B? And on and on. Everything and anything to do with retirement is the purpose of this podcast. And we like to have nice little short little snippets to answer those questions. One of the questions that we have, and we thought, well, let's bring an expert in to answer it, is what is an RMD or required minimum distribution and how do they work? And I thought, well, Jonathan is an RIA, Retirement Investment Advisor. I'm one of those too, but I can never remember the acronym. So, as far as how do they work, can you go ahead and share with us the RMDs and what's important about
Sure. RMDs, we love acronyms in our line of business. It stands for Required Minimum Distributions. And that is the lovely rule that is in place that requires that if you have tax-deferred investments, that once you reach a certain age, you'll be required to withdraw a certain percentage of those assets every single year until you either die or the money runs out in that account. So for years and years, the required minimum distributions age requirement was 70 and a half, meaning that the year that you turned 70 and a half, you would get a notification from the IRS that said that you had to take out a certain percentage of your account value. And then that money would be considered taxable. So you would have to include that as taxable income on your income tax return for the year. The age requirement has changed a couple of times over the past couple of years. A few years ago, it changed to age 72, and then recently it has changed to age 73. If that changes again, we'll make sure that we let you guys know, but as of now, the age requirement to start taking those distributions is age 73. So this is for any type of tax-deferred fund. So it could be in a traditional IRA. It could still be like in a 401k if you still have your money in that. 403b. There's lots of different types of retirement accounts that are tax-deferred, meaning that you've put that money in pre-tax, it's been growing, and you have not been paying taxes on any of the growth. Well, now the IRS says that you're going to have to start taking money out of that so that they can tax you on that money, and you will be taxed at your ordinary income tax rate when that occurs. So that, in a nutshell, is what's going on with your RMDs and a little bit of how they work.
Let me throw one more thing in there on that. Currently it's age 73, but if you were born after 1960, it's actually going to be changing to 75 years old. So it's that. Now, as we're talking about this, you said the pre-taxed accounts. Can you give us some examples of those accounts as far as the official names, the technical names, and how some of them are? Can you kind of talk about those types of accounts?
Sure. Yeah. So, like, are you referring to like a traditional IRA or something like that? Yeah. So, some of the more common accounts would be a traditional IRA, and that could be something that you have opened yourself and you're contributing to on a regular basis throughout your working life. Another very common account would be a 401k, and those are readily available in most organizations. So if you've worked for any big company, You've probably had somebody in HR direct you to whoever they have in charge of their retirement accounts, and then they have you open up a 401k. And so the way that that works is you usually have some money that's being taken out of your paycheck before it comes to you, and that goes to contribute to your 401k. And maybe your company matches some of the contributions. So that would be like a best case scenario. So if you're still working and you've got money that you're contributing to your 401k, check to see how much the company is matching if they do. And in many cases, it's good to maximize that because that just means that's more money that you have going into your account on behalf of the company. They're helping to contribute to that for you. So that's those are some of the basic type of accounts that are out there. Opening up a traditional IRA is usually pretty simple. You can do it on your own. A lot of people have done that online, or they can contact an advisor like myself or any other advisor that's out there that has the ability to help you pick different types of investments that meet your needs, right? Because not everybody is cut from the same cloth. They have different goals, they have different risk tolerances, and so you want to make sure that you're getting into the proper type of investment based on what your timeline is, what your goals are for retirement and things like that.
So, Jonathan, what does that look like? I'm sure we're having a listener saying, okay, I have a 401k and now I have to pay taxes on it. I'm sure their next question is how and what amount and what does that look like? So kind of fill in those gaps for somebody that has those questions.
Yeah, so if somebody has a traditional IRA or if they have a 401k, they're turning 73 this year. They will be notified of the amount that they will have to take out as a distribution in order to satisfy that required minimum distribution that the IRS has in place. So it's usually a form that you have to fill out. Sometimes you can do it online, but normally they will be notified ahead of time of how much they actually have to withdraw. And the way that it works, the way that they calculate it is they will take the overall investment balance inside of all of their tax deferred accounts as of December 31st of the prior year. So let's just take, we're sitting at the 25th of September today, 2024. So if you're 73 this year and you haven't taken your required minimum distribution, it's going to be based off of what your account balance was of December 31st, 2023, okay? And so they don't adjust it based on how the market is performing or how your account is doing throughout the year. They just take a snapshot in time and they multiply it by a percentage. And that percentage is going to increase each year that we get older. So it starts off at a certain percentage and then it will get bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on. So the amount of the required minimum distribution that people are going to have to take out, it's going to vary every single year because it's going to vary based on what their current account value is in conjunction with that percentage that they're going to be required to take out.
I'm sure they're thinking the same thing I am. Why does it go up every year?
Because the government says so.
There you go, folks. You heard it here first. The government wants your money.
If you want my own personal opinion, I can give that to you. My own personal opinion is that they want to get all of their taxes out of that. So they're going to increase that percentage, and then inevitably that account value is intended to drop over time. And really, ultimately, it's so that they can get their taxes. That's what they want to do with that.
Are there strategies out there to help people mitigate that?
Yes, there are. So if you're talking about mitigating strategies for taxes, there's ultimately you can't make the taxes go away completely. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. They're not going to go away completely. But if you're wanting to look at strategies for how can I possibly pull money out of this without being taxed for the rest of my life, there are options such as conversions into some type of a Roth account. Okay. Now, there are certain rules and timelines that you have to abide by if you do that. But it is a good strategy for some people that are looking to pay taxes at the tax rates today versus potentially paying tax rates at higher tax rates in the future. Okay? So those are just things that you have to consider based on what your needs are now versus what they might be 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
Now, you swerved into a couple different things there, and I want to make sure we clarify here as we're just getting ready to wrap this up that not all retirement accounts require RMDs. It's just the qualified accounts. Your IRAs, your 401ks, your 403bs, your 457s, those pre-tax qualified retirement accounts. Your non-qualified accounts, maybe you've got a CD at a bank, maybe you've
Hmm.
got an inheritance that are not IRAs. Roth IRAs, now they don't require RMDs either. So sitting down with somebody like you or a professional that can go through and identify that not all of your accounts are going to require an RMD. And here's another area that a lot of folks really swerve into. I've got my retirement accounts. My wife Rhonda's got her retirement accounts. We're going to remodel our bathroom this year, so we're going to take a big chunk out of my account, and we think that the money from my retirement accounts will cover hers as well. Not the case. It's individual specific. That I in IRA, individual, not
Yep.
household.
Yep.
So these are all things that people need to be aware of, I think.
Yeah, and that's something that I run into a lot is people ask if they can go ahead and combine their IRAs into one account because they like the idea of having a joint account, and I have to tell them no. And it's just like what you said, Ryan. The I is individual. It's designed that way. It's based on you as the person, not as a joint couple, right? It's the same thing with Social Security. It's based on you as the individual. It's not based on you as a couple.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. This has been hugely helpful. Exactly answered the question we were shooting for. We do appreciate your time.
You
Yeah,
bet. My
absolutely.
pleasure.
Thank you, Jonathan. And I hope that viewers, as you're watching, that answered a few of your questions. If you have more, which I'm sure you do, it can be, I mean, retirement is a beast. So leave your comments, below. If you have questions for, retirement fundamentals or for Jonathan, leave that for him, and we'll put his contact information there so you can get a hold of him as well. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.